Welcome to the American Glutton Social Club, where you tell us stories so we can share it with others. Who do we have today, Paige?
Today, our story comes from Jared.
Hi, Jared.
Jared says, "Hi, Ethan and other gluttons. My name is Jared, and I'm 30 years old. Up until January of 2021, I lived a very sedentary lifestyle. I worked at a desk job throughout the day and played video games all night long. I ate terribly and never took care of myself mentally or physically. To give you a quick overview of my life and my daily routine, I would wake up as late as possible to still make it to work on time. I ate breakfast pizzas or fried chicken tenders for breakfast every day, and I
What
would
is a
follow that.
breakfast pizza, Paige? This occurred after I started dieting. I've never heard of a breakfast pizza before. What is that?
I don't know. It sounds uh, like pretty great.
Eggs
And, you know,
eggs on a pizza crust with like sausage?
maybe. I'm not
Like
sure.
I remember when I discovered breakfast burritos and I was stunned. The idea of a breakfast pizza is really blowing my mind. Sorry.
I know. No, it's okay. So, breakfast pizzas, fried chicken tenders, etc. And he says I would follow that up with whatever fast food restaurant was on the menu that day for lunch. I drank soft drinks as if they were water, snacked all hours of the day on chips and candy. Dinner was usually not any better, and after dinner, I would play video games into the night, leaving myself only 3 to 4 hours of sleep.
Oh,
hmm
that's
He said I was
rough.
on, yeah, he said I was on a quick downhill spiral and I didn't know how or what to change. When the COVID pandemic hit, like many others, I was concerned and I wasn't sure what to believe. The only thing I knew was that a vast majority of people dying from the virus were obese. At this point in my life, I was 5'11 and over 240 pounds.
Mhm.
He said I stopped getting on the scale after I hit 240. Simple tasks like tying my shoes and walking up a small flight of stairs became breathtaking and miserable. I know to many people getting down to 240 is a goal, but to me, it was the worst I'd felt. I decided in January 2021 to make a change. He said I had seen clips of Joe Rogan's podcast online, and I stumbled across a clip of him and David Goggins. I was intrigued and I was left wanting more. After a quick online search, I found the full length episode and watched it. I was blown away. I quickly found Goggins' book and read it not once, not twice, but 3 times in a row.
Wow.
Yeah, he said I was hooked at that point. This wasn't an ordinary man, and I didn't want to be ordinary any longer. I took his advice and wrote out my goals to help hold myself accountable. My two biggest goals were to get under 200 pounds and to cut out soft drinks completely from my diet. The local gyms were closed, so I would go to a park on my lunch breaks and run what I could. I started listening to more and more of Rogan's podcast and quickly replaced video games with podcasts and books. I just want to say that's amazing because in our society, I mean, there are people that are avid readers and people who listen to podcasts all the time and people who look into ways to help themselves through those. But how easy is it to play video games or to be on social media on our phones or surf the internet or whatever? So, like, to have that discipline to go, okay, I think that's pretty awesome.
I totally agree. No, I
Yeah.
think in all of this stuff is being created in a way that it reduces our attention span and gives us little weird dopamine hits every time we open an app.
Mhm.
It's terrible. So fighting that is tough.
Yeah. He said, around May of 2021, I was at a healthier point in my life and roughly 210 pounds. I felt much better, but I hit a plateau. My diet wasn't where it needed to be. It was at this point that Ethan Suplee went on the Joe Rogan podcast. And when I first saw him, I didn't know who he was. But after a quick Google search, I quickly realized he was an actor I'd watched in movies and TV shows before, but I couldn't believe he had made such a positive and dramatic change in his life. I didn't recognize him.
Nice.
He said it was inspirational and I had to know more. He said he listened to that episode 3 or 4 times and then he sought out the American Glutton podcast and quickly became addicted to it. He said, up until this point, I didn't really understand diet or maintenance. When I heard Ethan's analogy on taking in calories for fuel, it was mind changing. How he explained calories as gas for a car and how the unburnt gas wasn't used as fuel the next day, but instead stored. And then more gas was needed to operate the car until it made so much sense to me. So look at
I
that
love that.
stuff.
I love that analogy so much, Paige, because like
Yeah.
we think about that in just a different way than we think about fueling our bodies. And
Yeah.
obviously, we're kind of designed to want to eat. Like our cars are much, even though I think of my body as a pretty dumb thing, and I
Hmm.
have to think about my mind, there's some separation there. My body
Hmm.
is a thing somehow separate from me, whether it be a soul or something. I don't know, but this is just
Yeah.
how I can conceptually do this, because otherwise my body would just do what I wanted it to do, and it doesn't. It does not do what I want it to do. It's fighting against me, whatever I am, right? Because I'm
Yeah.
intangible at this point.
Yeah.
So our bodies are much smarter than cars, but they're still dumb machines, right? And
Hmm.
so our bodies have to give us weird rewards, like the sensation of pleasure for eating.
Hmm.
Otherwise, maybe we would not eat and starve to death and die,
Yeah,
you
it's
know?
true.
But like, it's so fucked.
Hmm.
Oh, damn. I said fucked twice now. This is not, you're not supposed to swear on YouTube.
Well,
Whatever.
we can bleep it.
Okay. Yeah. Let's bleep it.
We'll bleep it.
Um, but, you know, if I just really think about the purpose for eating, it's so that I can live because I want
Hmm.
energy. So that thing shouldn't also be killing me.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, God, that is so crazy, actually, that there are things we can eat that just help us live a better life. And then there's things we can eat that totally are the opposite.
Yeah. I mean, like, look, I think we as human beings, there's a lot of like, who gives a shit about nature anymore, right? We drive
Hmm.
cars, we fly in planes, we live in houses. Like, none of this is natural.
Hmm.
Fine. We don't, and not everything has to be according to nature. But, and there is a hard period at the end of this but, or at the end of this sentence. We have to eat to live. Our body requires certain nutrients to live.
Hmm.
So that's got to be part of the calculation. Or, if we're just ignoring that, if we're just
Hmm.
ignoring that fact that our bodies require these nutrients, and we're just throwing random shit at our bodies because it's fun, that to
Hmm.
me is insane. I did the same thing for a long time.
Yeah.
I think you have to
Yeah.
bleep the S word too.
We will.
I
It's
don't
okay.
want to get canceled on YouTube for swearing too much.
No, I'm with you. I don't want you to get canceled anywhere.
Well,
Okay, so Jared goes on to say that completely changed his outlook on food as fuel versus food as pleasure. It was at this point that I started making more gains in my journey. I became addicted to the American Glutton podcast and started to put more focus on my diet. When the gyms opened back up, I started going to the gym 5 days a week before work and doing kettlebell training at night, followed by yoga. Mixing that training routine with proper diet made massive gains in my journey. I found a diet that was easy to maintain and that I actually enjoyed.
nice.
Today, yes, today I am down 68 confirmed pounds and I currently
Wow.
weigh 172.
Dude, that's so
He's
awesome.
so great. He said, more importantly, I feel better than I ever have. I now enjoy going outdoors and playing with my kids, and I look forward to going to the gym. I have found a way to use food as fuel instead of pleasure. My mindset has changed dramatically, and I'm a much better friend, father, and lover for making these changes. 68 pounds is no little task, but I don't need to remind you of that. You already know. The amount of discipline it takes to make that sort of improvement in your life will automatically help your mental state along with your physical. He says, in closing, I just want to say that although I'm the one who put in the time, work, and effort to make these changes, I couldn't have done it without people like Ethan Suplee, Joe Rogan, David Goggins, and Keith Weber. I don't know Keith Weber.
I don't know Keith Weber either, but the other dudes, it's a solid list to be included on. I'm very humbled by that. Thank you.
It's pretty awesome.
I hope
Um,
Keith Weber's cool. I hope he doesn't like tarnish the whole list. I just don't
yeah,
know
we're
who
going
he is.
to have to check him out. He said, Ethan, you've made such a positive impact on my life that I'll never be able to repay you for what you've helped me accomplish. But I wanted to step out of my comfort zone and share my story with you and others so that they know anything can be done if we put our mind to it. How awesome is that? I almost said the F word too.
I appreciate it so much, and I thank you so much for sharing it with me. It's that kind of thing that like really keeps me fired up about doing it. You know, I love that he found stuff he enjoys doing, because that's also so key. And I also found stuff that I love doing, but I having been a former drug addict and former food addict, I'm always weary of getting too relaxed about any of this. And so I
Mm,
just want to say that his note is really helpful to me in staying on course. So thank you.
that's
Does he have a
awesome.
picture?
Yeah, let's check out his photos right here. We have a few. How great.
Wow.
And
Incredible.
I know, and I love this one repping the American Glutton t-shirt in the gym.
Yes, that's awesome. That is
So
so cool.
cool. God, I
Yeah.
just love it. I mean, I know like even just the, obviously you see the pictures and it's like, oh my God, but reading this is so inspiring and so, I don't know, it's just really, really actually like it's beautiful. I love what you're saying that it helps you to stay, on track too. It's, I
It
mean, what a, like,
really
that's
does
how
in a
it's supposed to
major
be.
way. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you,
it's
Jared.
awesome.
What a great story.
Jared, thank you. Keep us posted on how you're doing too. And, if for anyone else that wants to share their story, we would love to hear it. Just send it in to us at americanglutton.net.